Welcome back everyone. This is just continuing with a little bit of tutorial stuff around Illustrator for the laser cutter. So just a couple of reminders. I've already got my infill color set to that red 255, green 0, blue 0. I am going to just start by drawing a couple of random rectangles, okay, to show you a few different bits and pieces. I want to explain the difference between the black arrow selection tool and the white arrow selection tool. Okay, so the black is called the selection tool. You can use it to select an object. You can then move the object, etc. With that, you can resize the object just like that. Fairly simple. With the white direct select tool, it selects a vector line within an object. So if we just select this object here and go to move it, you notice that it has taken that line and pulled it into the direction that I've moved it to. Okay. If you try to resize with it, it will stretch it out like that and it will completely skew it. That can be really annoying, but it can also be really, really helpful. In a similar way with the black selection tool, if I select the object and press delete, it deletes the whole object. With the white direct select tool, if I select the object like that, press delete, oops, let me just undo that again. Select the object like that, press delete. Notice that it just deletes that one line that I selected. Again, really annoying or really helpful depending on what you're actually trying to achieve. So, if you want to have a very specific sized rectangle, like for example, you want to draw something that is 200 by 50, then you just click on the screen and this box will pop up and then you can type in 200 by 50 and it will give you that rectangle like that. It is very, very accurate. Okay, the laser cutter will cut with a very slight tolerance. So, for example, if you were cutting a slot for 3mm acrylic to go into, firstly, there's no guarantee that your 3mm of acrylic would be 3mm. It might be 2.97 or it might be 3.1 or something like that. But I would recommend making your slot about 0.2 of a millimeter less. So I would cut the slot at about 2.8 and maybe 2.9, and you would find that the acrylic that you're slotting into it should be a nice press fit. If you cut it at 3mm, you'll find that it's a little bit sloppy. All right, so to start with, guys, I'm going to show you some stuff to do with these align tools. Okay, so I've got 3 objects on my page. First one here is the left align. So by clicking that, we align them all to the left. You should be able to expect what the right align tool is going to do. Okay, and then we have the center align tool as well. That is really, really helpful for, let's say, we specifically want all of them to be in line with each other. You can center align them like that. I use the center align fairly frequently. All right, you've also got the aligning in the other direction, so we can align them vertically, all the centers. Okay, we can align the bottoms of them or align the tops of them. It's nice and helpful. Notice that I'm using the black selection tool and I'm just drawing a box over them to select them. Okay, so those sorts of things are really, really helpful. I don't ever use these distribute objects, but please, by all means, have a look at what they are, what they do. What I do use is, with the align tools, is select my objects like this and then align to. Now, if I go align to key object, what I'm telling it is that I want to align all of these objects to each other. Okay, and what I can do is I can say, well, actually, I want them to be exactly 2mm apart horizontally, and bang, there they are, 2mm apart horizontally. That's really, really good for what we call nesting, when you're trying to lay out your material so that you use the material as efficiently and sustainably as possible, so that we're not throwing away more material than we need. So that's really, really helpful for a variety of different reasons. You might have noticed that I zoomed in. I am holding my Alt key and using my roller on my mouse to zoom in. If you only use trackpad, you'll have to pinch your trackpad, which can get pretty annoying. I would always recommend using a mouse when using a program like Illustrator. So those are the align tools. We can do them with circles. To draw a circle, I'm just holding Shift and dragging, or I can press and hold and say I can make it 30 by 30 or whatever the case is. If I want it to be an ellipse, I might make it 50 by 30. And I have created an ellipse. Okay. You can get rid of them. You can use a star tool, polygon tool as well. Line tool is particularly useful at times, particularly if you're wanting to draw something that's a little bit free form. So you might be wanting to draw something like this. Notice that it's snapping to the end point with an anchor, and I'm going to snap those. Now, I very specifically made sure that all of those lines were snapping to the anchor points. Okay, I'm then selecting them, and at the moment, these are 4 individual vector lines. They are one-dimensional lines. They are all separate to each other. Okay. Now, I want to make this a shape. So what I'm going to do is select all of those, right-click, join. Okay, this is now one object, one shape. Now, that is different to grouping. So I showed you before about aligning these and doing the distribute spacing. Let's say I've got them exactly where I want them and I do not want them to move. I can group them all by selecting, right-click, group. Now, when I select one object, they select them all. When I move one object, they all move together. Now, that is different to joining. Okay, that's super useful to group things. Okay, really good habit to get into. And then you might decide that you want to do something with just one of the objects. So we could use the direct select tool to select just that one line. Okay, these are still all grouped. All right, I can undo that. We might decide that we want to do something with the object, so we can ungroup, move that one, and then regroup these. Okay. So grouping is really important. Joining is really important. Guys, if you're trying to join something like this and it's not letting you, it might be because they don't form a valid profile. So I'm probably exaggerating things here, but sometimes it can look on the screen like it has worked, but they're not actually valid. So if I go to join, that's interesting. That has actually found the corner. Not exactly how I wanted it. All right, that might cause problems for me. But interestingly enough, it has actually joined. Okay, so those are a few little tricks and tips to do with the shape tool, line tool, and align tool. I'm going to show you some more stuff in a future video around the Pathfinder tools, which I find really, really useful. And I might do a bunch of other stuff in that as well.